If you're an American and have been driving for any length of time, then you probably have some idea of the most dangerous times to drive in the United States. Or do you?
You got it all wrong.
You might think it's during the icy winter months that are known for massive pileups, or spring break when everyone is headed to Florida beaches. Well, except Miami. How about rush hour during the busy work week? What if I told you that the most treacherous month to be behind the wheel is not during the summer, and that rush hour on a Friday afternoon is actually not the most dangerous time to be on the road? Welcome back to FinnaTravel. Today we'll be unpacking the most dangerous times to drive and how you can stay safe on the road. We've all been there. You're cruising down the highway, windows down, music blasting, not a care in the world, and suddenly you find yourself in the middle of a traffic jam, surrounded by honking horns and frustrated drivers.
Sorry, little traffic.
Now, all it takes is one distracted driver coming up over the hill behind you and someone gets hurt. Now, I've been in my fair share of accidents, and while I'm thankful no one was seriously injured in any of them, they were all still extremely nerve-wracking, and I still have some back problems from some of them today. Let me try something. If you have never been in any kind of car accident, let me know by hitting that like button. But if you have been in an accident, leave a car emoji in the comments. According to data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, there are approximately 100 fatal accidents on U.S. roads every single day. Now that's a sobering statistic, but the risk of being involved in a collision isn't evenly distributed throughout the day or the year. In fact, when and where you drive can have a significant impact on your chances of arriving at your destination safely. If you're looking to avoid the most dangerous time to be on the road at any given day, you may want to steer clear of the 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. window. During this hour, an average of 5.57 fatal collisions occur across the country, making it the most treacherous time to be behind the wheel. While there is an increased risk from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. depending on where you are, 9 p.m. is the most deadly hour to drive in America. It's not hard to see why. As the sun sets and darkness falls, visibility decreases, and driver's depth perception and peripheral vision can be seriously impaired. Even with high beam lights on, you can only see about 500 feet ahead of you, and that's not accounting for the glare of oncoming traffic. Drivers are also more likely to be impaired, tired, anticipating less traffic, and driving more brazenly because of it. Now, this does vary from state to state and different times of the week, but we'll get into that shortly. You gotta remember though, darkness isn't the main contributor here because the safest time to hit the road is actually in the wee hours of the morning between 4 and 5 a.m. During this time, there are far fewer cars on the road, and the average number of fatal collisions drops to just 2.34 on average. Now, this doesn't mean that you should plan all of your drives for the crack of dawn. After all, who wants to sit around at work for 3 hours when you could be sleeping? Alright, we've settled that afternoons are the worst time to drive, especially late afternoon and into the evening. But what about days of the week? If you thought the weekdays were bad, just wait until the weekend rolls around. Saturday takes the cake as the most dangerous day to drive, with an average of 4.68 fatal accidents per hour. This number peaks between 9 and 10 p.m., with a whopping 7.08 fatal collisions during that time. And Sunday is no picnic either, with early morning hours from 3 a.m. to 4 seeing more fatal crashes than the typical weekday morning rush.
Stay home. You only make this worse.
So what's behind this weekend spike in accidents? Well, a combination of factors likely contributes to the increased risk. For one, weekends tend to see more leisure travel, with people taking road trips, visiting family and friends, or heading out for a night on the town. This influx of cars on the road can lead to more congestion and a higher likelihood of collisions. Additionally, weekends are prime time for alcohol consumption, and drunk driving remains a persistent problem on American roads. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, one person dies every 45 minutes in the U.S. due to a motor vehicle crash involving an alcohol-impaired driver. That adds up to 32 preventable deaths every single day. But it's not just the partygoers who are at risk on the weekends. Drowsy driving can be just as dangerous as driving under the influence. According to the National Safety Council, 21% of all fatal crashes are caused by a sleepy driver. With so many people catching up on sleep on the weekends or staying up late to socialize, the risk of drowsy driving accidents increases. If you're looking to minimize your risk on the road, you might want to plan your trips for Tuesday or Wednesday. These 2 days have the lowest average number of fatal collisions per hour, at 3.46 and 3.5 respectively. Of course, this doesn't mean you should avoid driving altogether on the weekends, just be extra cautious and aware of the increased risks. I have a story about my brother who did just that, which I'll tell you about in a minute. To be fair, these statistics are average for the United States as a whole. But what about your state specifically? Not all roads are created equal, and the most dangerous times to drive can vary drastically depending on where you are in the country. Coastal states tend to see the highest number of fatal accidents in the evening hours, while central states are the most dangerous in the afternoon. In New York, Georgia, and Illinois, for example, the most treacherous time to be on the road is between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., while states like South Dakota and Kansas see the most fatalities between 1 and 2 p.m. This regional variation can be attributed to a number of factors, including differences in infrastructure, population density, and driving habits. In densely populated urban areas, pedestrian fatalities are a particular concern, and fatalities typically happen between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. New York City, for example, has seen record numbers of pedestrian deaths in recent years, prompting calls for better infrastructure and safety measures. For these areas, investing in protected bike lanes, improved crosswalks, traffic calming measures that slow down cars just might give pedestrians a fighting chance and help save a few lives each year. In more rural areas, the infrastructure issues tend to be poorly maintained roads, lack of lighting, and limited access to emergency services, which can all increase the risk and complications of serious accidents. So, is it the government's fault for not using our taxes more effectively and providing better infrastructure? Well, maybe in part, but we all know not to rely on the government.
The government in this town is excellent and uses your tax dollars efficiently.
So what can you and I do to stay safe on the road, no matter when or where you're driving? Well, a common thing we hear and see everywhere is buckle up. Do I think seatbelts are good and help keep you safe? Absolutely. Here's something I've always wondered. Should wearing a seatbelt be enforced since they don't actually prevent accidents? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments about that. According to the National Safety Council, seatbelt use is 45% effective in preventing fatalities among front seat passengers who are involved in an accident. Some other ways to stay safe are securing loose items in your vehicle that could become projectiles in a crash, and ladies,
take your feet off the dash.
If you do find yourself in a dangerous situation on the road, knowing how to maneuver your car can be the difference between life and death. A couple things you can do to keep safe is take a defensive driving course or practice emergency maneuvers in a safe, controlled environment. And of course, we all know this, but we should be reminded of it regularly. Never get behind the wheel if you've been drinking or are feeling drowsy. Staying alert and focused on the road is crucial for drivers. This means putting away your phone, avoiding distractions, and being prepared to react to changing conditions. This happened to my brother not that long ago in what would have been a very serious accident. Here's what he said, and I quote, "God protected us on Saturday as we slowed to a stop at a signal turning red. I glanced in my mirror to look at the vehicles behind me and noticed that the car right behind us was not at all slowing down. Made a split-second decision to pull quickly into the left turn lane/intersection, and that car blew past us through the intersection on a very solid red light. You guys, stay alert out there." Okay, so we know what time of day and what days of the week are the worst, and some tips to keep us safe on the road, but what month in the year is the deadliest for drivers? Summer and fall are the worst times to be on the road, and if you guess September as the worst month, you're absolutely correct. According to the NHTSA data, September sees an average of 106.48 fatal accidents per day across the United States. That's nearly 3% more than the second most dangerous month of June. Several factors likely contribute to September's grim toll. For one, the start of the new school year means a flood of inexperienced teenage drivers hitting the roads. The National Safety Council predicts that up to 545 people may lose their lives on the road over Labor Day weekend alone. Additionally, as the days get shorter and the weather starts to turn, drivers may be caught off guard by these changing road conditions. Tragically, these factors can combine to create a perfect storm of risk on the roads, particularly for young and inexperienced drivers. The combination of new responsibilities, changing routines, and challenging road conditions can be overwhelming, leading to an increased likelihood of accidents. Looking over all the data, including states which have the highest number of traffic deaths per 100,000 people, the absolute worst time to ever drive in America is arguably between 6 and 7 p.m. on a Saturday in September in Mississippi, which has 25.4 traffic deaths for every 100,000 people.
State of Mississippi.
In contrast, the safest time to drive in the United States is on a Tuesday morning in March between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m. in Massachusetts, which has 4.9 deaths for every 100,000 people. While these may be interesting facts to ponder, remember, every single number is a person who tragically lost their lives in what was most likely an avoidable accident. So unless you or I have someone else to drive us around everywhere we need to go,
I'll drive you around in my Lambo, don't worry.
We are going to have to put in a little more effort to help keep ourselves and everyone around us safe and help prevent a few more accidents. Ultimately, the most dangerous time to drive is whenever you're not fully present and alert. By staying vigilant, following traffic laws, and being prepared for the unexpected, you can greatly reduce your risk of being involved in a collision, whether it's your fault or not. So, buckle up, leave your stress and personal issues at home, keep your eyes on the road, and remember, it's better to be late than dead. If there's someone you know that needs to watch this video, please share it with them. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.